Thank you very much, Olivia. Firstly, I'd like to say thanks to Peter and the team for putting together a great event. I also very much like the format. We're not getting death by PowerPoint, even though I'm going to show some PowerPoint slides now. And I think, Olivia, you've done a tremendous job in keeping the conversation interesting and engaging. So I'm going to try and answer 4 questions that have been raised over the past day and a half. How are we in MaREI translating research and innovation into economic value and jobs? That's the first one. How are we improving the policy process, which has come up a number of times as being a challenge? How are we engaging with the public on the blue economy? And finally, how are we doing our bit to improve our understanding of the ocean? Now, some of the companies have already touched on some of the capacity that we're providing within MaREI. And just touching on the last conversation, I'm from UCC, but MaREI Centre is a national centre. We have 8 institutions around the country involved. Jamie Goggins from NUIG is here somewhere. And we have some of our industry partners are here as well. James Ives, we've heard this morning from Ocean. Tony Lewis from Ocean Energy, Vincent McCormick from G Kinetic. And it's really this triple helix of the industry, academia and government working all together. That's what I'm going to try and share with you in the next number of minutes. So essentially what MaREI is focusing on is the green economy and the blue economy. So our focus is on the energy and the marine sectors. And for the purposes of this presentation, I'm going to focus on the blue economy aspects. So what are we doing on the marine side of our research activity? And to start with, I want to share with you some input from some of our researchers in terms of them explaining what it is that they're doing, and then I'll touch on how it links with industry and other aspects. Now, this is an in-house produced video, but and we've prepared it for this event, so I hope you enjoy the next 4 minutes. The challenge we're trying to address is how could we best use research, development and innovation to make Ireland a global leader in the energy and marine sectors. Within MaREI, our researchers and laboratory facilities have helped companies like G Kinetic, Open Hydro, TP Energy to develop their tidal energy devices and to improve their company's capacity to harness future potentials in those areas. We're also working closely now with the offshore wind energy industry to develop that sector in an Irish context. In addition, we've been helping companies like ESB and Gas Networks Ireland to develop their strategy for the future decarbonisation of the energy system in Ireland. In terms of academic institutions, we currently have 6 involved in MaREI. We're growing that to 12 currently. And we're also very engaged in international collaborative research activity through technology collaboration programs in the International Energy Agency, working with the International Renewable Energy Agency, and also hosting future Earth coasts here within MaREI.
The National Ocean Test Facility is the testing facility for small to medium scale devices, and in addition MaREI have a number of other world-class renewable energy infrastructures at numerous locations in Ireland. In Limerick, our researchers operate a Centre for Robotics and Intelligent Systems in UL. In Galway there is the Structural Testing Laboratory in NUIG and the Mace Head Atmospheric Research Station. The challenge we are addressing here is the development of offshore renewable energy technologies that can operate and survive in some of the harshest environments in this planet.
We're trying to determine the complex interactions between the environment, societal and economic drivers that shape our coastal marine systems. These are essential to our survival, but we don't fully understand them. And we also recognise as a society that we are having a significant impact on these key environments.
Marine litter effects directly harms marine animals, impacts on the marine environment, also impacts on our economy because, for example, you can have navigational hazards or its unsightly nature could impact on coastal tourism. And it has a human health implication as microlitter and especially microplastics can enter the food chain.
Developing vibrant coastal rural communities is a major government priority. and the potential for sustainable offshore aquaculture in this country is enormous. We're hoping to try to harness the natural environment and the natural productivity of the oceans to provide a sustainable and socially acceptable form of aquaculture that can provide economic growth and be environmentally friendly.
Marine spatial planning is a new way of managing human activities at sea, and it involves the active participation of all relevant stakeholders from government, industry and civil society, those that are affected by any new plans. MaREI has been instrumental in developing stakeholder engagement strategies, including interdepartmental and sectoral meetings and multi-stakeholder workshops across the region.
MaREI is one of the main organisers of Cork Science Festival, which attracts over 12,000 people each November, many of whom would not typically engage with science. As well as participating in a number of other cultural festivals, MaREI delivers workshops to hundreds of school students annually. By providing accessible information to all stakeholders through dissemination and engagement activities, we can help facilitate informed decision making.
I really like working in this area. For example, the international aspect is really exciting, and continued collaboration with the partners allows for more and deeper research, and I'm supported by a brilliant in-house team.
It's a really interesting area to work in here because there's so much potential and we're so well placed to deliver on that potential for both the environment and the economy.
I enjoy working in a research centre that is helping society face major challenges such as climate change, the energy transition and the sustainability of our oceans.
It's a fantastic area to work in because the coastal marine environment is different every day and we get to interact with some of the most interesting and exciting people and species on the planet.
The impact of our work is very obvious in terms of technology moving into open sea test sites. We have, take for instance, the ocean energy technology which was tested here at very small scale, and now a full-scale prototype is being put out in Hawaii.
I really enjoy the fact that we're making a difference. We're helping to develop Ireland's marine and energy resources in a sustainable way. Okay, so that gives you a flavour of some of the activity from the people themselves. You can see here a list of our funding sources. SFI is a significant funder within MaREI, as is the HEA, who supports all the principal investigators. But we've diversified to a range of other funding sources from across the EU suite of funding is available, and equally nationally, working with the state agencies in the energy and the marine sectors. This gives you a sense of geographically where some of our infrastructure is around Ireland, and we've got the National Ocean Test Facility, which is based in Cork. We have a structural laboratory in Galway, and we've marine robotics in Limerick, among other facilities around the country. Mace Head was mentioned as well. In terms of some of the numbers, the one I want to draw your attention to here is the 200 researchers. I mean, this is our key strength, is the people we have working in this area. And this is one of the, I suppose, direct consequences of a centre like MaREI contributing directly to employment. Another one I'll draw on here is our industry partners. We're approaching 50 in terms of our industry partners, some of which were mentioned in the film and some I'll come back to later that I've mentioned earlier. A significant quantity of EU funding we've harnessed. 13 million is what's come into the MaREI Centre. But what this doesn't capture is the money that we've also leveraged for some of our industry partners. So in two of these projects, for example, two of the EU projects that we've secured funding for, we have about 3 million that we've secured in addition to this 13 for Irish companies. And this is another advantage in terms of where we add economic value to those companies, helping those companies and innovators to develop their ideas and bring them through to fruition. As I said, our people is our greatest asset, and we didn't ask these people deliberately to smile or look happy. This is essentially what happens in MaREI, and we're delighted with that. And you can see it's a range of, we have people doing engineering, people doing marine science, people in the policy space, economics, finance, law. It's very diverse, and increasingly we're looking at, in the context of engagement with communities and with citizens, we're further collaborating with sociologists and other disciplines to really have a holistic perspective on the energy and marine economy. In terms of where we started, it was the research prioritization. So our initial focus was on priority area J, marine renewable energy. That's where we started. But we've evolved over time to respond to national policy evolution and development. So this is an early version of the Marine Innovation Strategy, and it captures, in terms of 3 topics, the economy, the ecosystems, and engagement with the sea. And that's where our work on the marine side has focused and targeted and evolved. Within that, there's a lot of areas, and we don't do everything. We don't claim to do everything. We started with renewable energy and with marine renewable energy and with effectively the policies required to bring that to fruition. More recently then, through our engagement, we did work on marine litter, ocean observation, but also climate change, particularly on the adaptation side. So as sea levels rise, it's the coastal communities that will face most of the harm associated with climate change. And moving forward, we have plans for a phase 2, which is over the next 6 years, further diversification into areas like ocean literacy and education, which we've started somewhat on, but we want to expand that forward, and equally on the biodiversity, ecosystems, and food webs. I've touched on the range of funding diversification that we've achieved thus far and will continue into the future. And it's great to have, I mean, I'll come back to it, we have recently got funding for an incubation manager from Enterprise Ireland. And that's in addition to the significant funding for infrastructure that we've got both from SFI, but also from the Department of Energy, Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, and others. So we're tapping into as many as the funding programs as we can. I'll just give 2 examples of engagements with companies. And one of the things that's quite rich with a centre of the scale of MaREI is a company can start on the bottom left with a concept, and then over the years tapping into the different research capacity across the country within MaREI, move towards deployment. So starting with a concept, moving towards deployment, tapping in along the way to the different funding opportunities as the technology improves its readiness and moves up from concept through to being ready for market. 2 minutes. Another example is with a larger scale company like ESB, where again we've engaged with them over the years, and most recently in terms of informing their strategy for the future. Now I'll ask Liam maybe to stand up. Liam is our recent addition, who's our incubation manager. So any companies who want to engage with MaREI and tap into our research capacity, Liam's the man. This is a company, Safe Haven Marine, who've done some of their testing. A bit like X-Ocean, they wanted to test out how would their product, in this case ships, survive in the marine environment. And we have the fabulous facility in Cork to be able to provide that. On international engagement, this is one of the projects that we're leading in Europe, MaREI, which makes available the marine renewable energy infrastructure around Europe to companies and large and small. For Future Earth Coasts is housed in MaREI currently, and that's another aspect of our international engagement. We've heard about the seabed mapping. One of the areas that we've been focusing on, in addition to learning more about the ocean in terms of the seabed, we need to learn more about the life in the ocean. And that's one of the things we've been doing in terms of surveys in Irish waters on marine mammals and marine and seabirds. The Climate Ireland platform is where we've engaged with local authorities to provide training in how they can help build adaptation plans to be able to adapt to current and pending deterioration, I suppose, or the threat caused by climate change. In terms of public policy, that came up a fair bit yesterday in terms of where the challenges are. So we're actively engaging in this looking at the strange looking map on the bottom left, which is to do with I suppose the dangers or the threats posed by Brexit and how that might impact on the marine sector in particular. In terms of our societal engagement, this is a key gap. It's a key area. We need to engage more and better with society. Rather than just having discussions within the industry or within the research community or within the policy community, we need to go out to communities and engage. And it's a dialogue we need to have. We can't be telling them the answers that are coming from the research. That's important, but we need to get into a dialogue with people about the future. So this one is looking at ocean literacy, but we also have citizen science projects where people engage in terms of identifying birds with researchers. We have a video we prepared on microplastics and the danger of that in terms of how it's impacting on the ocean. So this gives you it's a very quick and rushed snapshot overview of some of the areas we're doing to, as I mentioned at the start, how we're adding to the economic value and jobs, how we're engaging and improving with the policy process, how we're engaging with society, and also how we're helping to understand actually what's happening in the ocean. So I'm delighted to be here to share that with you, and thank you very much for your attention.